activity. A majority of our industries depend heavily upon the nature resource of the earth, minerals, fuels, and groundwater. Apart from the industrial needs of these resources, man requires some of them for his ordinary activities like building construction and road laying. Next one, prospecting for all these resources, their exploration and expoliation requires as a through knowledge of the subject of geology. No nation can be self-sufficient in all minerals, as minerals are concentrated in relatively few places in the crust. Every country depends on importance of the at least some minerals problems involving international policies arise. Next one is development of geology. The later part of 18th century is generally regarded as the beginning of modern geology. During this period, James Hutton and Scotch scientists put forth a principle that came to be known as the uniformation. The forces and processes that are presently shaping our planet have worked much in the same way in this past also. The idea is popularly known as the present is the key to the past. And actually, this is the first unit. What is geology? What is the branches of geology? What is the scope of geology? What is the development of geology? Anybody doubts? Hello, all of you follow or not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one is second unit. Just wait. Next unit two. The second unit is solar system. The solar system is the gravitationally bound system comprising the sun and the objects that orbit it either directly or indirectly. These objects that orbit the sun directly, the largest eight are the planets, with the remainder being significantly smaller objects such as dwarf planets and small solar system bodies. Actually, the solar system formed 4.6 billion years ago from the gravitational collapse of giant interstellar molecular cloud. The vast majority of the system's mass is in the sun, with most of the remaining mass contained in Jupiter. The four smaller inner planets, these are the Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are terrestrial planets, being primarily composed of rock and metal. The four outer planets are giant planets, being substantially more massive than the terrestrials. Next one, the two largest, Jupiter and Saturn, are gas giants, being composed mainly of hydrogen and helium. The two outermost planets, Uranus and Neptune, are ice giants. All planets have almost circular orbits that lie within a nearly flat disk called the ecliptic. The solar wind, a stream of charged particles flowing outwards from the sun, creates a bubble like region in the interstellar medium known as the heliosphere. The heliosphere is the point at which pressure from the solar wind is equal to the opposing pressure of the interstellar medium. The solar system is located in the Orion arm, 26,000 light years from the center of the Milky Way. Next one is structure and composition. The science of geology is traditionally divided into two broad areas: One is physical and second one is historical. The principal component of the solar system is the sun that contains 99.86% of the system's known mass and dominates it gravitationally. The sun's four largest orbiting bodies, mainly the account of 99% of masses with Jupiter and Saturn together comprising more than 90%. Most large objects in orbit around the sun lie near the plane of Earth's orbit, known as the elliptic. The planets are very close to the elliptic, whereas comets and Kuiper belt objects are frequently angles to it. The planets dominated by Jupiter account of for most of the rest of the angular momentum due to the combination of their mass, orbit, and distance from the sun, with a possibly significant contribution from the comets. Next one, distance and scales. The distance from the Earth to the sun is one astronomical unit, 1 AU. 1 AU is 150 lakh kilometers. The radius of the sun is 0.0047 AU. The sun occupies 0.1% of the volume of a sphere with radius of the size of the Earth's orbit, whereas the Earth's volume is roughly 1 million, that the sun. Jupiter is the largest planet and it is in 5.2 astronomical units. And whereas the most distant planet and next one, Neptune is 30 AU from the sun. The next one is sun. The sun is the solar system's star and by far its most massive component. Its large mass produces temperatures and densities in its core high enough to sustain nuclear fusion of hydrogen into helium, making it a main sequence star. The sun is population star. It has higher abundance of elements heavier than hydrogen and helium. Next one is planets. The four terrestrial or inner planets have dense rocky compositions, fewer no moons and no ring systems. Three of the four inner planets, Venus, Earth, and Mars, have atmospheric substantial enough to generate weather. All have impact craters and tectonic surface features such as rift valleys and volcanoes. The term inner planet should not be confused with the inferior planet, which designates those planets that are closer to the sun than Earth, Mercury and Venus. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and the smallest planet in the solar system. And Venus is the close in size to the Earth and like silicates mantle around an iron core, substantial atmospheric and internal geological activity. Next on Earth. Earth is largest and densest of the inner planets, the only one known to have current geological activity and the only place where life is known as to exist. Next one is Mars. Mars is the smaller than Earth and Venus. It has atmosphere of mostly carbon dioxide with a surface pressure of 6.5 million years. The four outer planets are gain planets, sometimes called Jovian planets. Collectively make up 99% of the mass known to orbit to the sun. Jupiter and Saturn are together over 400 times of the mass and Earth and consist hydrogen and helium. And Uranus and Neptune are far less massive and are composed. And there is the second unit is completely about the solar system and remaining 8 planets. And next one is third unit. Third unit is completely Earth. What is the Earth? What is the inner of the Earth? What is the age of Earth? What is the origin of Earth? complete of Earth system. And third unit is Earth. Earth is the third planet from the sun and the only object in the universe known to have life. It is the densest planet in the solar system and the largest of the four terrestrial planets. Earth's gravity interacts with the other objects in space, especially the sun and the moon. Earth's only natural satellite during one orbit around the sun, Earth rotates about its axis over 365 times, thus, as Earth year is about 365.26 days long. About 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, mostly by its oceans. The remaining 29% is land, consisting of continents and islands that together have many lakes, rivers, and other sources of water that contribute to the hydrosphere. Planet Earth has only one satellite, the moon, which accompanies it on its annual flight around the sun. The planet satellite system is unique in the solar system because moon is about 3 lakhs 48,000 kilometers or 2 lakhs 40,000 miles. Next one, origin of the earth. Earlier theories about the origin of earth,
सर
nebular hypothesis. Hello.
हाँ सर, ये अपन जो सेकंड यूनिट था ना, द सोलर प्लैनेट्स का,
हाँ,
सर इसमें लास्ट में जो अपना क्वेश्चंस रहता ना, मॉडल एग्जामिनेशन क्वेश्चंस,
क्या है?
वो अपना व्हाट आर द डवरा प्लैनेट्स, इसका सर वो क्वेश्चंस नहीं, बुक्स में
बुक्स में,
आंसर नहीं मिल रहा ना,
बुक
आंसर
में,
नहीं
बुक
मिल रहा
में
ना।
क्या आंसर क्या है?
व्हाट आर द डवरा प्लैनेट्स, उसका आंसर नहीं मिल रहा सर मेरे को। उसमें बोले 10 लाइंस लिखना, बोले तो कहाँ से लिखना?
10 टाइम्स
क्वेश्चन का आंसर देना बोले तो 10 लाइंस में ईच वन 10 लाइंस लिखना, वो क्वेश्चन का बोले तो आंसर नहीं मिल रहा सर।
एक मिनट, डाउट क्या है तेरे को? क्वेश्चन क्या है?
व्हाट आर द डवरा प्लैनेट्स?
व्हाट आर द
डवरा,
डवरा
DWRF, डवरा प्लैनेट्स।
डवरा प्लैनेट्स?
हाँ सर।
डवरा प्लैनेट्स, डवरा
हाँ सर, डवरा।
एक्चुअली
It's not Drava, sir. It's dwarf planet.
हाँ,
Dwarf planets.
It's dwarf planets, not Daura.
डार्क प्लैनेट्स,
Dwarf.
ओके ओके। ओके ओके
इनर प्लैनेट बोले तो ओके सर, बट ये
ओके ओके, द डार्क प्लैनेट्स आर एक्चुअली Mercury, Mercury and Mercury, almost Mercury.
मर्क्यूरी।
Pluto. Pluto.
हाँ,
मर्क्यूरी और प्लूटो दो ही है ना सर?
हाँ, अभी
वही।
प्लूटो नहीं है 9 प्लैनेट्स में, तो कंप्लीटली अभी 8 प्लैनेट्स है।
फिर तो खाली मर्क्यूरी के बारे में लिखना पड़ेगा इसमें अंदर।
हाँ, Mercury।
वही सर, मैं एक दिन ऑनलाइन सर्च करा तो मिला नहीं, इसलिए वही।
ठीक है ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। एंड नेक्स्ट वन, एज ऑफ द अर्थ। एनीबॉडी
ओके
आइडिया
सर।
एज ऑफ द अर्थ?
4.5 billion years.
एज ऑफ द अर्थ, anybody idea about the age of the earth?
4.5 billion.
Hello,
4
yeah, tell me loudly.
4.5 billion years.
4.5?
नहीं, 4.5
Okay, age of the Earth is 4.5 billion years or 4,600 million years. Okay, the ages of Earth and Moon rocks and of meteoroids are measured by the decay of long-lived radioactive isotopes of elements that occur naturally in rocks and minerals, and the decay with off-lives of 700 millions to more than 100 billion years of other elements. Ancient rocks exceeding 3.5 billion years in age are found on all of Earth's continents. The oldest rocks on Earth found so far are the Great Slave Lake. The oldest dated moon rocks, however, have ages between 4.4 and 4.5 billion years. And shape and size of the Earth, the shape of the Earth is spherical. Shape is the shape of the shadow of the Earth as seen against the face of the moon during a full lunar eclipse is also spherical. But careful observation by several eminent geographers have led to the conclusions that the shape of the Earth is not a perfect sphere but an oblate spheroid. The Earth's equatorial is 12,756 kilometers, whereas the length of the polar diameter is 12,714 kilometers. Next one, constitution of Earth. The crust under the oceans is 5 to 6 kilometers. The crust under the continents is 30 to 35 kilometers. And the crust under the mountains is 60 to 70 kilometers. Analysis made by silica and alumina. Silica, SiO2, is the most dominant component. Its values lies above 50% by volume in the oceanic crust and above 62% is in the continental crust. And alumina, Al2O3, is the next dominant component. Its value varying between 13 to 16%. And iron oxide, Fe2O3, 8%, lime, CaO, 6%, and sodium oxide, 4%, and magnesium oxide, 4%, and potassium oxide is 2.5%, and titanium oxide is 2% are the other components making the crust of the Earth. Second one is mantle. This depth below the surface of the Earth at which striking change in the properties of the material is observed has been named as the Mohrvik discontinuity. The material below Moho forms a zone till a depth of 200 kilometers is reached. Mantle is made up of extremely basic material called ultra basic that is very rich in iron and magnesium but quite poor in silica. This zone is characterized with a high density that increases with depth. And last one is core. Actually, interior of the Earth is the crust, mantle, and core. The crust is 0 to 33 kilometers of the Earth, below the Earth surfaces, and mantle is 2,100 kilometers, and core is 6,370 kilometers. And then third one is core. It is the third and innermost structural shell of the Earth, as conclusively proved by the seismic evidence. It starts at depth of 2,100 kilometers below the surface and extends right up to the center of the Earth at depth of 6,370 kilometers. The liquid-like core extending from a depth of 2,100 kilometers to about 4,800 kilometers is often termed as outer core. The inner core starting from 4,800 kilometers and extending up to 6,370 kilometers is of unknown nature, but definitely of solid character and with properties resembling to a metallic body. According to a widely favored view, the core may be made up of iron and nickel. The continental masses and ocean basins of the nearly 197 million square miles that make up the surface of the Earth, Nearly 70% is covered by the interconnecting bodies of seawater, the Pacific Ocean, along covering fully one-third of the globe with an average depth of 14,000 feet. The area of island and seafloor between successively levels has been estimated and quite interesting results obtained. Accordingly, it is known the three or two dominant levels, the continental platform and the deep sea platform and slope of connecting both of them. Next one is geological process. The earth changes of all kinds have been going on in the earth's crust and on its surface, in its materials, the structures, distribution of land and sea, mountains and plains, and even climate and weather. The process of responsible for these changes are called geological processes. In these external processes are process of external origin, which include weathering, erosion, and deposition. The external process operate on the surface of the surface earth, tending to reduce its mainly irregularities to a common level and hence are referred to as the process of gradation and denudation. Second one is internal processes. The internal process are process of internal origin, which include dystrophims and igneous activity. As per plate tectonics theory, the Earth's outer rigid lithosphere is broken into several individual pieces called as the plates. The very slow movements within the astrosphere below are believed to cause the plates to move in relation to one another. And this is the third unit. It completed the third unit is what is the earth and what is the origin of earth and what is the age of earth and what is the shape and size of the earth and constitution of the earth. And next one is fourth unit.
Mountains.
1 minute. Yeah. Next one is fourth unit. And fourth unit is a completely topic about the mountains. What is the mountains and classification of the mountains? And first one is mountains. A mountain is a conspicuous highland with a small summit area. In the study of mountains, would come across certain terms such as cordillera, system, range, group, chain, etc. Mountain systems, independent in age and origin, occur in more or less parallel rows. They may be called mountain chain. A cordillera is a combination of chains, systems, and ranges in one general portion of a continent. Mountains are formed also as the result of folding or tickling of blocks produced by falls, but the great mountains belts griddling the earth away their origin primarily to massive disturbances of bedrocks. The term orogeny has essentially the same meaning as mountain building. Mountains formed by the process of deformation of the crust are the most illustrative, if somewhat puzzling, features of the Earth's surface. The mountain building activity is known as orogeny. The areas where these activities take place are known as orogenic belts. Orogenic movements are essentially tangentially to the crust. Next one, classification of mountains. The mountains are classified on the basis of the origin broadly into 5 types. The first one is relic type of mountains. Relic type of mountains. The relic type of mountains is formed due to differential erosion. Second one is deformation type of mountains. The deformation type of mountains can be divided again into fault type and fold type of mountains. And first one, fault type mountains. The fault type mountains produced due to the displacement or dislocation of rock blocks on either side along a plane of weakness. The raised part of ridge is called horst. Depressed area is called graben. The raised part of the ridge is called horst and depressed area is called graben. Majority of the Himalayan range owe their present structure to the thrust faulting on a scale due to the shortening of the earth crust. And second one is fold type mountains. It is important fold mountains and various types are noticed. They are accumulation of sediments in subsiding geosyncline. And next one, these sediments are subjected to lateral pressure due to tangential movements. And next one, upliftment of these sediments to form folded mountains. Accumulation type mountains. These type mountains are when volcanic eruption takes place, solid and liquid lava is given out. The volcanic products up to form volcanic mountains are what are known as accumulation mountains. These are also called as volcanic mountains. Next one is dome mountains. The dome mountains is a number of mountains regions where the mountains occur as irregular groups. The central area is composed of intrusive rocks such as granites, around which sedimentary rocks are found dipping in all directions away from the igneous core. And next one is mountains on the seafloor. The conspicuous mountains ranges are known to exist on the floor of the sea. The greatest of this mid-Atlantic ridge, which windows and down the middle Atlantic from Iceland almost to the Antarctica. And next one, mountain building activity or orogeny. The mountain building activity or orogeny, it is now a common understanding that the rocks of the great mountain systems of the world, both past and present, originated and sediments laid down in certain mobile zones called geosynclines. There are three types of the geosyncline. The first one is monogeosyncline. These are the geosynclines as conceived by Hall and Dana. This type is perhaps best seen in the application of mountains of North America. They were long and narrow watered basins. Next one is polygeosynclines. The polygeosynclines were rather certainly broader than monogeosynclines. The Rocky Mountain geosynclines are a typical example of this type. Okay, and the third one is mesogeosynclines. In contradiction within the above two types, these are really narrow, elongated, and mobile ocean basins, which are actually bordered by continents. In every case, mountain building follows a general trend of events, processes connected with the mantle produce, geosynclines and geoanticlines. The origin of orogeny may be explained according to the theories of convection, currents, plate tectonics, etc. The mountain ranges of India, actually the India is broadly divided into three physiographic divisions, namely Peninsular India, Extra-Peninsular India, and Indo-Gangetic alluvial plain. In Peninsular India, we have the oldest mountain ranges. Now these mountains ranges divides Rajasthan in two parts as Aravalli Mountains. The Aravalli mountain chain and second one is Saptura and Vindhyan mountains are in central India. In the extra peninsular India, we have the highest mountain chains of the world known as Himalayas. The third one is Indo-Gangetic alluvial plain, inclusion the plain area of Ganga River. The internal geological processes are acting within the earth. These processes are mainly dystropism and igneous activity. These activities are causing volcanic eruption, mountain building process, and earthquakes. The tectonic mountains are also called as deformation mountains, with subgroups as fold mountain and fault mountains. Accumulation mountains are formed due to the accumulation of sediments and with upliftment and subsidence. The volcanic mountains are formed due to the accumulation of volcanic products. The complex fold mountains are formed due to the deformation of crustal movements. Actually, this is completely classification of movements and what is the classification of mountains. What is the mountains and three types of geosynclines and remaining 2 units. I will discuss remaining 2 units and tomorrow class. And any doubts, please ask me. Hello.
हेलो
Tell me.
सर, ये इसका वैसे प्रैक्टिकल कैसे होगा अपना ये जियोलॉजी का?
Actually, I don't know about your practical exams, your theory exams. तो एक बार वो अम्बेडकर डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन का वो डिपार्टमेंट का कांटेक्ट नंबर है तेरे पास? नहीं है?
रहता तो है वो, वैसे भी ऑफलाइन कॉलेज रहता ना, उस टाइम गया था तो बोले जब ऑनलाइन क्लास होती तो वहाँ पूछना सर को कैसे रहता है वैसे।
ठीक है। तो कहाँ से बात करा?
मैं सर हैदराबाद।
हैदराबाद? हैदराबाद कहाँ है?
मैं मेडचल, मेरा
ठीक है।
खैरताबाद कॉलेज है।
ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। एक बार जाओ वो अम्बेडकर यूनिवर्सिटी को जाके और पूरा डिटेल्स कलेक्ट करो। वो एग्जाम कब है, वो प्रैक्टिकल कब है, और रिकॉर्ड वर्क है और नॉट है, और पूरा डिटेल्स कलेक्ट करके।
नहीं, डिटेल तो सर कुछ आप भी देते ना कि प्रैक्टिकल ऐसे होता वैसे, तो वो तो प्रैक्टिकल का एग्जाम डेट बताते ना।
कब है प्रैक्टिकल?
वही सर नेक्स्ट मंथ में है ये।
नेक्स्ट मंथ है? ऑलरेडी बोले इंस्टीट्यूट में डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन में?
हाँ वो बोले थे, मैं गया था तो बोले थे प्रैक्टिकल भी नेक्स्ट मंथ में होता।
ठीक है, ओके, ठीक है,
वही
मैं
क्योंकि
साथ से बात करके।
क्योंकि लास्ट दिसंबर तक ही है ना क्लासेस सर, उसके बाद में नहीं है ना।
अभी कल है ना, तो हो गया वो फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर का, वो 6 यूनिट्स हो गया कल है ना, तो अभी तक वो 4 यूनिट्स हो गया, और कल 5 यूनिट है और 6 यूनिट है ना, तो वो 6 यूनिट्स हो गया।
हाँ फिर वो फर्स्ट यूनिट हो जाता है उसका फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर।
हाँ, और क्या है, वो के एम बंगर है, वो इंजीनियरिंग जियोलॉजी ऑफ के एम बंगर बुक है, और जीबी महापात्रा बुक है, 2 बुक्स है। वो 2 बुक्स को ऑनलाइन में ऑर्डर करो, वो फ्लिपकार्ट और अमेजोन में ऑर्डर करो। इंजीनियरिंग जियोलॉजी ऑफ के एम बंगर और जीबी महापात्रा 2 बुक्स है। वो 2 बुक्स वो 3 इयर्स का एनफ है। वो कंप्लीट डेटा और कंप्लीट प्रोसीजर एंड कंप्लीट एनालिसिस एंड कंप्लीट नॉलेज मिलता है वो बुक में। वो बुक का ठीक है।
ठीक है सर, फिर अपना ये कॉलेज से दिया हुआ बुक्स ये किस काम के लिए नहीं है, ये इसका कुछ काम नहीं रहता क्या?
वो कॉलेज में जाके एक साथ बात करो, वो मटेरियल मिलता नहीं मिलता, एक साथ एक बार बात करो।
मटेरियल दिया सर, कॉलेज से तो मटेरियल दिया पूरा जो अपना
तुमने
रहता ना।
दिया?
हाँ सर।
ओके।
वही। ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सर।
ओके ओके।
क्योंकि सर जियोलॉजी के स्टूडेंट इतने नहीं है ना सर, बहुत कम है पूरे हैदराबाद के अंदर, पूरा 10 या 15 स्टूडेंट है ओनली।
हाँ, एक्चुअली जियोलॉजी और रेयर ग्रुप है, वो इंटरमीडिएट में जियोलॉजी नहीं है, वो डिग्री से वो स्टार्टिंग है जियोलॉजी।
हाँ डिग्री से स्टार्ट है सर, वो भी मेरे को, मैं जब कॉलेज में गया तो बोले आपके रेयर सब्जेक्ट है यहाँ पे, तो रहता ही नहीं क्लासेस, खाली ऑनलाइन रहता।
ओके ओके, वो प्रॉब्लम कुछ नहीं है, वो जियोलॉजी वो टर्मिनोलॉजी अलग है वो, और प्रोनाउंसिएशन अलग है, और सब्जेक्ट इजी है वो। जियोलॉजी कंप्लीट स्टडी अबाउट द ग्राउंड वाटर, रॉक्स, मिनरल्स, हिल्स एंड कंप्लीट पेट्रोलॉजी टॉपिक है। और इसमें अलग अलग है वो ब्रांचेस ऑफ जियोलॉजी, वो रिमोट सेंसिंग है, वो आर्क जेएस है, और सॉफ्टवेयर सॉफ्टवेयर का सॉफ्टवेयर भी इंक्लूड है वो जियोलॉजी में।
हाँ सर।
वो पढ़ने तो वो थोड़ा मजा आ रहा वो। नेक्स्ट सेकंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर में वो पूरा समझा है सब्जेक्ट, नो प्रॉब्लम।
हाँ सर, मैं भी ऐसे उसको पढ़ा था, ऐसे पूरा रिवीजन कर रहा था एक बार, 3-4 यूनिट्स के। फिर
हाँ
सोच मैंने, फिर अलग अलग सेमेस्टर के एग्जाम्स होते हैं ना, फर्स्ट और सेकंड सेमेस्टर कैसा है,
ओके।
वही।
तो प्रीवियस पेपर कलेक्ट करो एक बार जाने के लिए वो डिपार्टमेंट को।
मैं जाता हूँ फिर कल, नहीं मंडे को
वो
जाता हूँ।
जाके प्रीवियस पेपर्स कलेक्ट करो, वो एक बार देखो क्या क्या है, वो शॉर्ट आंसर क्वेश्चंस क्या है, वो लॉन्ग आंसर क्वेश्चंस क्या है, एक बार देखो।
मैं वो ढूंढा सर, नहीं मिला। लास्ट टाइम मैं जब कॉलेज में भी गया था, तो मैं बोला था मैडम को, प्रिंसिपल मैडम को भी बोला,
ओके,
मैडम मेरे को लास्ट 2 या 3 इयर्स के पेपर्स होना।
ठीक है।
बोले मिले तो मैं अरेंज करती हूँ, नहीं तो मुश्किल है। मैं को ठीक है मैडम।
ठीक है, ठीक है, मैं वो सर से बात करके वो ग्रुप में सेंड करते हैं, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ठीक है।
ओके सर।
ओके। और एनीबॉडी एनी डाउट्स?
नो सर।
And remaining fifth and sixth units, sir, I will discuss tomorrow, 1:30 to 2:30.
ओके सर।
Okay?
ओके सर, थैंक
Okay,
यू।
okay, okay.
हेलो, क्या हुआ, सभी चले गए क्या स्टूडेंट्स?
हेलो।
ऐसे आप सभी हैदराबाद से है कि बाहर से भी है, विजयवाड़ा वगैरह से? चले गए यार। हेलो। ओके, नेक्स्ट कल मिलते हैं।